but those types of companies will charge you sometimes anywhere from $3 to $5 to $10 per thousand on top of the cost just to use your own data. We could charge for that because everybody else does, but why? You know, because if we run to the data, A, we can give attribution, yes. B, they're going to get a better result, and C, they're not going to fire us. So it makes us, you know, to go try to scrape a dealer for another $2, $3, $4, $5 per thousand, it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of The Drive. And we are in Las Vegas. It's sunny, it's early, so it's not crazy hot. And I'm here with the one, the only, the oh so famous. He paid me to say it. No, I'm just kidding. I got Rich with me with Coast Tech AI. What is up, buddy?
Oh, man.
How you doing?
I have always wanted to ride in the car with you, so I feel like I've hit my lucky day.
I like that. That's kind of cool. I've always wanted to go for a drive, too. So, look, it's crazy to think that we've been doing this podcast now for like 8 years, kind of like in this format. We want to hear a funny story. So the first year that we did this, I did something stupid. And I rented a 1955 T-Bird.
Oh.
Which sounds cool, right? Does
like
that sound like cool, like old Las Vegas and everything, right? Like it'd be fun? No. Okay. This thing overheated every single time we went up the strip, and every time. So I had to go up the strip, pull into a dark alley, pop the hood, let it cool for 30 minutes, and then drive back down the strip. It was a nightmare.
And I bet every time you hit the gas, too, that big engine in there made a little bit of noise on the podcast.
Yeah, let's just say I've learned a few things over the years, right? Definitely learned a few ways to like keep the volume down and stuff. Hey, Rich, here's what I like to do. I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story. Because I'm just fundamentally fascinated how in the world people choose this business. So if you don't mind, let's kick it off there, Rich. So everybody out there watching, listening, how in the world did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Well, it's so funny. It was, and a lot of people say this was kind of by accident. When I was in college back in the early 90s, all I wanted to do was be on the radio, and found out that when I was doing the morning news in Philadelphia, making $4.35 an hour, that wasn't attainable for a long time. So they said, hey, if you want to make more money, try sales. So I got into radio sales for a while when I was younger. And when I got to York, Pennsylvania, I was working they made me the automotive sales manager for the radio station. And,
sure.
And there are two really guys, Harry Hanna and Jake Daggett, York Mitsubishi and York Chrysler Plymouth in those days.
Shout out if you guys are watching.
Yes, they took me under their wing and kind of taught me the automotive business, and fell in love with it then, and then got into the digital side of things and development. And I was fortunate. I was working for Super Media, and my wife was actually working at Team Velocity Marketing, and Super Media wanted to move us across the country, and Team Velocity didn't want to lose my wife, so I was kind of a nepotism hire there. And at a day when they were just simply a direct mail company, and came in and helped Bill Riley and Dave Boyce start the digital department, and I've been doing it ever since. Left in 2019 to start this company with a couple great, wonderful partners, and I just love the automotive business. I love working with dealers. I love the business, the fact that like every month it's like a game, it's like a scorecard, right? You know,
definitely challenge.
Yeah, you roll that boulder up the hill like Sisyphus. You know, hey, we got to get to 50 cars, we got to get 100 cars, we got to get to 130, whatever that number is. And then the day after you make that goal, like it's over, and now you're back at one. And some people might say that's weird to me, but I just love that. I love that every new month, whether you win or lose, you have a chance to go get it the next time. And it's one of the things that's always kept me driving in that auto business.
Well, look, you got bit by the bug, and like this is just one of those businesses that once it's kind of in your blood, man, you can't get it out. Like once you're in, you're just kind of in, right? So it doesn't surprise me that you got a little taste for it. You had a couple people that this is the other cool thing, and I love the fact that you bring up the two guys that really kind of like get you to, because that is the business, right? Like car people they're just like some of the friendliest people. Like I don't think the public generally knows this, right? Like car people love helping each other out, like in a huge way. Don't you think so?
Oh, they do. And like I said, Jake and Harry Hanna, they really taught me, because like early on in radio, like I would do a big promotion at a dealership, give out free hot dogs, balloons, the whole 9 yards with the radio station.
Yeah.
But then I learned if they didn't sell anything, I could get as many people on the lot as possible, give away tickets and stuff. If they were just coming to pick up the tickets and turn around, walking away and leave, that did them no good. I never forget early on, Harry, like we did this big promotion giving away Orioles tickets, and we had like, I don't know, maybe 300 people on the lot, and they came in for a pair of Orioles tickets, but 95% of them just came to the van, got the tickets, turned around, walked out. But I was thinking I was a winner, man. I walked into Harry's office and, hey, I got you 300 people in your lot. He's like, Rich, like 4 people came into the showroom. Next time, can you give the tickets out in the showroom? And I'm like, all right, I learned. So, don't give them outside in the van. Make them at least come in and have to look for it. But then started learning and just all the cool ways and offers. And Harry, he was old school. He used to have a yellow legal pad where he would go through his inventory and he'd give me cars for the commercials, like advertise this Plymouth Horizon for X.
Horizon.
Yeah.
That name I have not heard in a long time. I can't believe you just dropped that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it goes to show. Oh, and Jake Daggett at Mitsubishi always loved to talk about the spiders back in the day. Just tell them I got 5 spiders in the lot. That's all you need. Just put it in put that in the ad, they'll come in. And I'm like, all right.
I love those days. That's awesome. Well, you know what? Speaking of old school, I think that's kind of a great transition, kind of one of the first topics we want to talk about today, right? Because something that is old school is really becoming new school, right? And, I'm seeing this transition in our marketing, and I love the fact that this transition is happening, is back to the big screen.
Oh, I love it too.
Don't you love that? I love that medium, and I was so sad to see it go away.
I have been a television fanatic since I was a kid. Like, my mom and dad got me a little black and white TV I used to have in my room, and used to put tinfoil and clothes hangers trying to get the out-of-town Baltimore stations growing up in York. And I have just always been fascinated with it. And then the really neat thing is dealers, like growing up, car dealer commercials were legendary, Yeah, I mean, you remember, it was fun. I got to be on a call the other day with the Johnson Automotive Group, and they were the people from the Badger commercial. Yeah.
Oh, that's
and I think
you're gonna get me one today.
Exactly. I think we spent the first 20 minutes of the call me talking about the Badger commercial and how much it changed my life. But then digital came in, and look, if you cut me, I probably bleed the Google logo. I mean, I've been known as Mr. Google most of my life, but here's the thing that dealers today are complaining across the board about lot traffic. And the one thing that we can see now with the CTV, and especially with foot traffic attribution and IP attribution back to sales, is that connected TV drives foot traffic.
Yeah.
And we work with a big publicly traded group in the RV industry, and we had just a little bit of it wasn't even meant to be a test, but in March they had tremendous foot traffic, and we were very, very heavy CTV. Some of the store managers were pushing back. They weren't getting enough web forms in, because those are very easy to manage and control.
Well, see, I think we have to look beyond the web form.
Yes.
I mean, I really do. I mean, and I see this happening a lot, right? Like, our marketing is getting beyond the web form. And also, I don't know about you, but I hate the web form. Come on, think about this,
it's
right?
It's like people join witness protection the minute they fill it out.
Well, that's true, but also, think about this from the consumer side, right? Let me give you my first name, last name, email address, shoe size, firstborn, blood type, for the hope that you may or may not follow up with me. And when you do, it's probably going to be on your time schedule when it's convenient for you and not convenient for me.
Well, and you think about texting. Like, when you text somebody, you're sitting there, you're waiting to see the little dots that they're typing you back. Yeah. Like, we live in this now moment. I can't imagine somebody filling in a web form and then just sitting there like the Maytag repairman. Like, hey, who's going to call me? Well, and where I was going to go with that, I was just going to say, so then so they pushed back, wanted a little bit more web forms. In April, we took some CTV money and we did a little bit more traditional Google. Web forms came up, lot traffic went down. In May, once again, we stayed the thing. Web forms are up, lot traffic was down. But now in June, they were closing the lot traffic much better as it's easier. We went back the other way, CTV up, Google down. Now the lot traffic has come back and they're closing more. And that's that. And I'm seeing that across. We're very fortunate at Coast. We own our own DSP. And it was something I never set out to build. But during during COVID, we were a new company. And at the time I was talking to Simfly and they wanted us to like lock in at like 30 grand a month. And this was during COVID, and I was a brand new company.
That's like, a little high.
I couldn't.
Well, I understand that. I've been there, done that. Like,
I can understand. And
I spent time with the trade desk and stuff. I get it.
So I said, hey, look, let's just do it. I'm good with the 30. I have enough business currently, but if I miss a month, just tack a month on the end of my contract. And I'm like, no, you owe us 30. So luckily during COVID, met some great guys, and we have a development team, and we ended up putting out our own DSP. And
so let's talk a little bit real quick, because I think there's a lot of I know we have a lot of 3-letter acronyms in our industry. I get it, right? Yep. For everybody out there watching and listening, yes, we have a lot. It's our industry is made of 3-letter acronyms and 4-letter words. I totally understand it. Now, the DSP, all right, there's a huge advantage when you're working with any agency that actually owns their own DSP, right? That ability to be able to target a customer where they are, not necessarily by the channel, is a huge thing. And you guys, I think you have to understand, you got to talk to your agency to really kind of understand if they have that ability. Because I am still surprised right now how many people have still a channel model, not necessarily an audience first model.
Oh no, you have to go audience first, and that was the other reason we went down the DSP road, because I had a dealer very supportive. They're board members of our company, investors in the company early on, and he would go crazy because he never saw his ads on streaming. So. And this guy is as buttoned up and as smart as anybody I've ever met in life. And he turned on every TV in the dealership, every TV at the corporate headquarters, his wife, his friends. Nobody was ever seeing his ads. And I was sitting in these meetings with him, and he was just taking me to town. And I don't blame him. We were spending, 40, 50K in streaming. He wasn't seeing any of them. And he said, well, who are you running to? And I said, well, we're running to, quote, an in-market audience. He's like, well, who's in that in-market audience? I'm like, well, the DSP provider told us it's an in-market audience. He goes, well, how do you know? I'm like, because they told me. He's like, well, why would you trust them? And so I went to the...
Pretty fair questions to ask, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah. He's like, give me the list of the people we're targeting. So I called the DSP company and I said, hey, look, I need the list of the people we're targeting. They're like, well, we can't give you that. And we don't even have that. It's all mobile ad IDs and longitude, latitude, and that. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, can I run to my own data? And they said, yes, but you're going to have to go to a place like LiveRamp or Oracle and get an account. You upload the data there. They're going to hash it and push it to us. So I said, not a problem. So I called LiveRamp, took a great demo, great system. I'm loving life. And then I get to the price, and they said, well, this is going to be $30,000 a month. And I'm like, well, and I don't get any ads with that? And they're like, no, this is just to clean and move up your data. And I said, there's no way I'm going to be able to sell it to this dealer to spend $30K a month, then to have to go out and spend another $50K just to run ads. And so I started looking around for solutions for companies and APIs where I could use my own data. And that's really how we fell into building out our own DSP system. So our dealers, one of our big competitive advantages is we have what's called a DMP, or a data management platform, built into the DSP. So I can go, let's say a dealer is having trouble with service retention. I can have them print out a list of everybody that had bought a car who hasn't been back for service, and we can upload that into the DSP and then hit those people specifically with a TV ad, and only those people, because we have that capability. And we don't charge for that. So a lot of times, like the big players out there, and I always try to, when people say, what is your DSP? Explain to me. I say, well, you probably heard of Trade Desk, or you probably heard of Simfly. Oh yeah, I've heard of those. And I always hesitate to say we're a competitor, because we're like a speck, a tiny little speck in the Trade Desk. Maybe somebody somewhere in a basement cubicle knows that we exist at Trade Desk. But that's that. But those types of companies will charge you sometimes anywhere from $3 to $5 to $10 per thousand on top of the cost just to use your own data, and that's crazy.
Well, it's not economical for any dealer out there. Right?
No, yeah, and that's where, like, you know, I have a great Brett Lala is one of my partners in the company, and he always says that pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. One of them gets fat, one of them dies. I want to be the one that gets fat. But you know, we could charge for that because everybody else does. But why? You know, because if we run to the data, A, we can give attribution. Yes. B, they're going to get a better result, and C, they're not going to fire us. So it makes us, you know, to go try to scrape a dealer for another $2, $3, $4, $5 per thousand. It doesn't make any sense. The juice isn't worth the squeeze in that.
Well, and I don't think dealers realize just how much ad spend actually goes to some of these things, and it doesn't actually go to just the actual advertising itself. So that's why I think it's super key for anybody out there watching and listening. You need to ask these questions, right? You need to know, you know, where they're getting the data, who's managing that data, and how that data is being executed, because it drastically changes, you know, how many actual dollars go to the actual advertising portion of what we do.
It's the CTV game. Streaming TV game, probably one of the reasons why it struggles today is it is a little bit of a dirty game in some aspects, in that
there's a little bit of snake oil, which is a shame because I am so jacked and excited about coming back to that big screen, like you were saying earlier. The badgers, the trunk monkeys.
Yeah, and so what happens in the CT when a guy goes and sells a dealer and he says, hey, you're going to be on streaming, the dealer has in his head that he's going to be on the big TV on his living room wall or on his office wall. But you got to be careful, and you got to ask those questions, because there's CTV and then there's OTT. OTT will now allow the spots to run on a computer, run on a tablet, run on a smaller Xbox or something. There's nothing wrong with that in certain cases, but that's not what the dealer was expecting. The dealer was expecting that when he's streaming the LSU football game and they go to break, that he sees his ad. And so many of our competitors and so many people in the space, what they'll do is they'll go in and they'll pitch a very low CPM. Like they'll go in and they'll pitch it. Like I had a guy the other week, you know, we were pitching and I was kind of bragging because we have great floor deals we have great partners at like Disney and Time Warner where we have direct deals. And I was kind of bragging about our deals, and he's like, well, tell me about your Hulu deal. And I said, look, I can get you on Hulu for on CTV, the big TV on the wall, for about $13 per thousand, which is an incredibly competitive rate in the marketplace. He goes, oh, I'm buying it from somebody else for $6. And I said,
well, they think they're buying it.
That's what I said to him.
Yeah, there's guys, I know we're getting a little deep into the weeds here, but stay with us on this, because it is important. Your dealership does need to be in CTV, but you definitely need to understand what Rich is putting down here. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and so I said, let me see your reporting. And he put up his reporting, and he was legitimately paying $6, but I saw the deal number that the company was placing under. And so having our own DSP, I can go look up deal numbers across the board. And I looked it up, and it was a combo deal number that was running not only on the big TV, but it was running on tablets, phones, all small devices. 99%. I said, look, I can put it there too, but 99% of your stuff, I'm not gonna lie to you, 99% of your stuff is gonna run on a phone. Right? The stuff on the big screen, that is cherished inventory to these people. And it was so refreshing.
It's premium inventory. And look, dealers out there that are watching this right now, you guys know what premium inventory is, okay? If you've ever bought radio, you know that the price for the drive home at 5, all right, is not the same price as at 11:30 at night, right? Wow. Like there is a price for premium positions. So you need to ask these questions when you're getting into this game.
Oh, and so many of our competitors or so many people in the space will report to what's called either the exchange or the network level. So they'll get a report and it'll show that they got 15,000 impressions on Roku. Now, you and I and the dealer assume that those 15,000 people were when people were watching a movie on Roku. But Roku has games. Roku has all sorts of games, coming attractions. They have apps. And depending upon what the deal is, a majority of your money could have ran in a lot of that other stuff.
Sure.
And so that's why most DSPs only report to the Roku, Amazon, Hulu level. They don't want you to see what your stuff is actually on. One of our unique things that we do, going back to my dealer friend who invested in the company and used to take me to task, he was like, used to call me hocus pocus. And he goes, hocus pocus, I need to know where my ads are running. So when we built our DSP, and every DSP has this capability, but we show in our reporting the channel, the network, the title of the episode, and the episode. So you see that you were on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the one where the prince gets in trouble at school, on TV Land, which is part of Viacom at 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. You see it all with our reporting.
I do want to talk a little bit about placement, because I still think people do like, look, guys, this is why it's important to find a partner that you can trust in this space, right? When it comes to placement and optimization of those dollars that you're giving up to them, like customers are engaging everywhere, right? So if in-market customer could be on Fubo watching a soccer game,
right?
All right, or they could be watching one of the Hispanic shows on another free TV solution or something like that, right? So it's like, I know we love to think, oh, Netflix, Prime, Disney, Roku. You understand, the consumption is everywhere, and you just got to find a partner that you can trust, knowing that they're going to put a customer first, not a channel first approach to it.
Oh yeah, and it's funny, we do that customer. We got fired once.
By the way, I love the fact you're sharing this story. With
yeah,
me.
I mean, I'll tell you the good, the bad. Like, I'm an open book, and drives my partners crazy. But we got fired once, a dealership group in the Midwest, and it was in February, and we were only running to their data. So we uploaded a whole bunch of data sets, and we're just running to their data. And when the dealer got the February reporting, he saw the Christmas channel on there. And he called and he was yelling and screaming at me for 25 minutes. He's like, you guys are dropping the ball. It's February. It's way past Christmas. Christmas was over 2 months ago, and you're still advertising me on the Christmas channel. I said, no, I'm advertising to your customers. I can't help that people that come to your dealership still want to watch Christmas movies in February. I can't control that. But look, I said, look, we're getting it. Prime placement in the evening, $4 per thousand, and 4 of these people walked on your lot. He could not get it over the fact that I dropped the ball and was on Christmas in February, and the next month we got fired.
Because that is the fundamental difference between the old model and the new model when it comes to the big screen, right? Is, the old model, you kind of just had to guess or guess where it was a channel first approach, right? You were going to be at this time slot during this show and that time slot. Now that we're able to be a customer first approach, all right, it doesn't matter where the customer is. It could be February and they're watching Rudolph. I don't give a crap. Still be there, right?
And what we did is we set the DSP up also to fulfill the older way. I tell people it's like the way you used to buy linear. For a good example, back to my dealer friend again, big LSU football fan. And 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he wanted to have his ads run on the LSU games.
Sure, why not?
Well, in early CTV times, that was hard because somebody could watch, let's say the game was on Disney, ESPN. That means somebody could watch it on Spectrum streaming or Dish Network streaming or Sling or Fubo or YouTube TV, Amazon. There would be 50 different ways that you could get to ESPN to watch that. And so what we had to do was place lines on all of those players to make sure we covered it. So when we upgraded to DSP about 18, 19 months ago, we built in what's called title or genre or episode targeting. So now,
so you can, if the dealer does want to, which maybe they have a good reason for
right,
example,
like
the LSU
game.
Yeah, sure.
Yep, exactly.
Sure.
So now we can go in there, we load all of the deals, all of the networks, everybody in there at once, and then our digital person just simply puts in only bid if it's an LSU game spot. And now, like for college football packages, NFL, the Masters, we just put together a deal for the US Open. All of that you can still buy that like you used to buy TV.
I like that. And dealers, here's one of the things you got to know about this. And I know we're going on, but I think this is super important. You you can go audience specific in your targeting, and that also makes you requires you to go audience specific with your creative. And this is why I love the coming back part, because now we're actually getting creative again, right? Like if you are going to, maybe you are going to go channel specific and you are going to target the masters, right? Well, make the creative relevant to the masters. Just don't be throwing up some like, here's a truck.
Well, and
$299 a month.
Yeah, and even down to we do work in the RV space as well, and in RV, I love it because it's like auto, but it's a little bit like real estate. So you have to buy a unit that will fit your family. So if you have 3 kids, you're going to buy something bigger than if you have, 1 kid or a retired. Then you have to determine between motorized or towable, and it gets into a bunch of stuff. Where I'm going with that is somebody who's driving a $450,000, what they call a Class A, which is like the big tour buses that rock stars drive around. They're not going to be interested if a TV ad hits them with a pop-up camper.
Exactly.
They're going to like tune that out. So it's a challenge for we have a complete creative team led by Marilee and Liz on our staff, that when we do commercials for dealers, we end up having to do 5 or 6 for it. So, and then we segment the audience. So if you own a Class A, all the units in the commercial are all big buses. If you're a family and you're looking for what they call in the RV space stick and tin, or a cheap small unit, then we're going to give you a whole bunch of $4 a day deals and a bunch of pop-ups and lightweight towables in the ad. And that, I think that's the other thing that we do that's different than everybody else. Like a lot of agencies out there, you get your one TV spot.
Right, and that's why you've got to find a right partner for this, guys. Like, it is not a one size fits all. Having the power to be audience specific does come with a little bit of responsibility, meaning that creative does need to speak to that audience. Like I said, but that allows us to be way more efficient with our ad spend than we've ever been in the past. And you're going to see real attributable results to that, like real results.
Well, and that's, we have our Stealth CDP, which also ties in with the DSP.
Yes, let's get into a little bit of CDP. I know it's on my list. I feel like it could be a whole podcast in itself, but we'll cover it real quick.
But where that comes into play with it is because we have our own DSP, we get back from what they call the publishers, the auction log. And it's sort of like for a dealer, the old tear sheets used to get proof of performance from your TV, your radio station, where it would show you a list of dates and times your commercials ran. We get those back every day, with the exception, since we have our own DSP, we get what's called like the IP address, we get the longitude and latitude of where the ad was served, we get the mobile ad ID it was served to. And so what we're able to do with our Stealth CDP, our customer data platform, is we pull those longitude, latitudes in, and then we do a reverse address append. So if Jason lives at 2885 Bradley Avenue, and we serve the spot at 2885 Bradley Avenue, and then Jason comes in and buys a car. Now, we're not saying in life, and I always am careful with dealers, I'm not saying that this one spot changed Jason's life, and he got out of bed at 3 o'clock and was waiting at the door when you opened.
This to happen.
But if we show Jason 5 ads and he comes in and buys, there is a little bit of a correlation causation thing there. So that's where the CDP comes into play. Is so I was here at the convention. I was showing a dealer last night. 2 people walked into this dealer's showroom, and they had seen their ad over the last week on the U.S. Open on the Golf Channel. And I said, here's 2 ads. Here's the impression we served, the date, the time they were watching, and it was preliminary stuff in the afternoon on the USA Network. And now 2 of these people have walked into your dealership. And that's the unique thing now with CTV. It's like in the old days, I'll never forget back to Harry Hand. Boy, Harry, if he watches this, he's gonna be like, Harry.
I'm gonna send him a copy just to do that, right? Like,
Harry had a contest because I was his radio guy, and I was always asking him for more money. And in those days, TV or newspaper was big, and the newspaper guy was always asking for more money. So one month he paid a spiff to all of his salespeople to ask where they heard of the ad. Was it newspaper or radio? All right. And so we ran extra commercials. I pulled out everything. Like I was seeing the salespeople every day, bringing them lunch. I wanted to make sure that I won, right? Yeah. And so I go to Harry at the end of the month. All right, you got to tell me did we win? And he said, no. I said, the newspaper win? He said, they didn't win either. I said, what won? He said, TV. I said, you're not on TV. He goes, yeah, I guess I can't track this. And so where I'm going with this is I've always remembered that, and I've told that story hundreds of times, but now we can track it. Like I just said to you a minute ago, I'm not saying that some guy that saw an ad 3 times, that was the one deciding factor, but there is a correlation there.
Of course there is. And well, look, I mean, there's a fundamental part of marketing that really hasn't changed at all, and that is about reach and frequency. And you know what's funny, which surprises me, is I don't see that oftenly reported with agencies. By the way, if you guys are watching and listening to this, ask your agency for a reach and frequency report.
I'm glad you said that. It's the top of our report. It's the first 2 boxes in the report.
High five. Like, I don't, like, that is like marketing 101 for decades. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, you have to have reach and frequency. I mean, the fact that I'm like, okay, we presented this ad to you one time. What? That doesn't do anything. That doesn't mean anything, right?
Well, last week I had a little bit of a mental meltdown on one of our client service reps because I saw a ticket come in for a dealer in the Los Angeles market that we work with. In LA, I mean, there's just so many people who live there, millions and millions and millions. And he wanted to maybe not run to the data so that way more people could see his ad. Yeah. And the first thing what you just said, I went and looked at his current report, reach and frequency. Right. Running to the data in the big market, he was already reaching like 189,000 people, but he was less than 1 frequency.
That makes no sense.
Right. And so I called our client service rep and I'm like, why would you put this ticket in? I said, he's not even have a 1 frequency now. And now we're going to run the more. It's just going to totally wash him out. And she goes, well, he wants to. And I said, no. I said, tell him we're not doing that. Tell him to call me. Yeah. Like I terrorize my client service team sometimes with that.
Well, no. Like, yeah, Rich, it just shows that you care, man. Yeah. That's all it is. It just shows you care.
And so I said, look, let's cut that. If he wants more, I said, we need to cut this 189,000 list down. I said, that's too many. Or he has to add budget. Yes. And I said, you know, it's a little bit more of an expensive market. He needs to add budget, or we need to cut this list down to like 50,000. Let's find that 50,000 are most likely to buy in the next week or 2, and let's hit them 3 or 4 times. That's what I love about CTV. We like I said, we work with a big publicly traded company, and they drop a significant amount in CTV. But last month we were able to hit like 800-some thousand people in the market for their products across the United States, and we were able to hit them with a frequency of 11.
See, there you go. That's proper. That's real.
That made me jump up and down and run around and wake my wife up and say, "Look at this report!" That's a wake your wife up thing, man. We got an 11. We got 11 frequency on 800,000 people.
That is so. Guys, I love Rich. Look, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our time today, but Rich, I feel like we could definitely, we'll have to do this again.
Oh, let's do it.
Again,
like,
sometime
anytime,
for sure.
Man.
But hey, before I let you go, for everybody out there watching and listening right now who enjoyed our banter today, but maybe would like to continue some parts of this conversation, what's the best way to connect?
Yeah, so a couple easy ways. I'm Rich at coasttech.ai. That's my email. You can drop me an email anytime. You can go to coasttechnology.com. And I put up on there a public calendar that you can book an appointment with me. I take appointments with everybody who wants to meet.
I love it.
So, you can just book your time when it's good, date and time, pick your time. If you tell me, Rich, I only have 10 minutes for you, I'll squeeze it in. So, and that's an easy way to come do it.
Hey, for everybody out there watching and listening, we appreciate you. One of the biggest compliments you can give myself and other content creators out there is share the show. It means so much to us. If there is a colleague or a manager or a friend that needs to see some portion of today's conversation, share the show. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much for your time today, and you guys have an amazing day.